Hello and welcome to another episode of Murphy's Law. This is a continuation from last Wednesday's episode with Neil, the 604 atheist. We just went too long. We've got a lot of content to cover. So we decided we were going to cut that. If you have not seen the first episode, I'm going to pop, I believe, yes, right up over here. I'm going to pop a card with a link to the first episode if you haven't caught it. Let's go over and say hi. Hey, Neil.
Hi, sorry. I was just having a sip of my beer there. Sorry about that.
Oh, I love it. How's it going, brother?
It's going well, man. How about you?
Doing well. It's it's funny doing 2 records in a day.
I know. Going through the whole reintroduction thing.
Yeah. Well, it's like, how have you been? Long time. All of 10 minutes.
Yeah. 5 seconds ago, we were just.
Yeah. Did you do something with your hair? Yeah. So
yeah, I have a fan on, so I look all Fabio-like when it blows in the.
Oh, you already do, my friend. So, I didn't get to go into this actually at the beginning of last episode. And so I kind of want to just a little bit talk about you because.
About me?
Yeah,
okay.
Man. As a guest, I think you're an awesome guest to have. And I kind of want to talk about how we met.
Oh, hell yeah. That's a great story.
Yeah. Well, so do you want to tell it?
I think it might be interesting hearing from your end.
Sure.
I mean, because ultimately it starts with me doing the whole call-in. So why don't you tell them why I called in?
Yeah. So it started with Neil calling in to talk heathen. I'd never met him before. And it was a regular call. And what Neil had to say was that he was trying to donate a kidney. And it was just out of the goodness of your heart. And the reason you wanted to call in is because Hamish at the time was calling in quite a bit. And you wanted to say, hey, I'm living proof that you can be good without God.
Yeah, exactly.
And it left a huge imprint on me. Many months, I think almost a year later, we met at Faithless Forum.
Yeah, but you'd been on my show before that, though.
Oh, that's right. Yes. You'd started your show. Your show is all about deconversion stories. There we go. That was the word. I wanted to say coming out. Deconversion stories. It happens
to me all the time.
Yeah?
Just watch any of my shows and you can see it. And then there's that, and then I was like, and I'm like, that's it. It happens all the time, right?
It does. It does. Yeah, you had me on and I talked about my deconversion. In fact, to this day, if people ask me, hey, Eric, what's your history? I still tell them, go check out Neil the 604 Atheist channel because I've gone more in depth on my past and where I've come from on your channel than anywhere else. And we cried.
Yeah.
And
that's why I have this handy whenever I'm hanging around Eric now.
Well, it was fantastic. You were incredibly patient. That whole setup that day was, I was all over the place. I didn't have access to the studio. You were on my laptop. We went outside. I got eaten alive by bugs. It was a lot. But what I loved was you kept doing it. You kept putting out content and you kept giving new content creators and other people who are in the movement, not just content creators, but viewers, a place to share their story.
And many have.
Yeah.
I've got almost close to 300 videos, I think now.
Wow. And I think it's incredibly important to have that place in this niche. And I'm glad that you're here to fill it. And so when we did meet at Faithless Forum, it was like we'd known each other for years. At least it felt that way to me. Yeah. We just clicked. I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey. So I was like, we went to like the same school and everything. We were going up drinking at parties together, and it's like, hey, what's going on, brother? Hey, how you doing?
Yeah,
awesome. And Jamie
then,
too.
Yeah,
because Jamie was wearing that goofy hat that he loves, and we went to get. I'm like, we need beer. He's like, oh no, wait. He's already half cut. I'm starting to get cut, and we just ran across the street. Almost got hit by a car, and then we just ran in there and then grabbed a couple cases of beer. And he's just right behind me smiling the whole time. Like, holy cow, this is this guy that called in like a year and a half ago.
Yeah. Well, and it was more than just on a day. You came to Austin for a while, and we went out. Yeah, we went out and we had food together. We hung out, and just getting to know you as a guy, as a person has been awesome. So because you live,
feelings mutual.
Well, thank you, brother. Because you live so damn far away. Where do you live?
Vancouver, British Columbia.
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah.
Land of hockey, eh?
Well, the odds of getting you here live to do an episode of Talk Heathen just kind of diminished. They dropped through the floor because it would be incredibly difficult to get you out here. And due to COVID. Take it away. Yeah, well, due to COVID, not even
COVID,
that.
I can't even go down there right now.
But that also means that since we're doing things remotely, it's okay to have somebody in Canada. And so we've had more than one Canadian actually.
Shannon Q.
Yeah, on recently. And I'm really grateful for that. So that's one positive thing out of all of this is that you got to be on Talk Heathen after you called in years later. Now you're here on the other side.
And I was co-hosting.
Yeah.
Dude, I got to tell you, I'll tell you right now.
What's up?
I'm running around all over the place. I get to co-host Talk Heathen. Like, and they don't even know what is that. It's like one of the biggest atheist shows you can call, where you call in and people want to hear. I'm considering it practice for when we start our call-in show up here in Canada.
Cheers.
So, yeah,
I'm glad.
Yeah, so,
good.
Yeah, me and my very good friend Randolph Richardson, who happens to be the president of you've met him, the president of the Canadian Atheists, right? So
yeah,
we're doing our show up here at some point, probably in the fall. I think we'll get it going. Just got a producer. We got some stuff we're still working out, and we'll get it going soon.
You know, the tech is better now than it's ever been. So
exactly,
you're well in for it. But this has been a lot, and we haven't even dove into the call yet. So let's dive in. This is Murphy's Law. We're going on talking about a call that we started talking about last week. And so just as a kind of refresher, I'd love to give people a clip. We were talking to Kevin. I believe his intro's here.
Kevin, hello. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Hi,
Kevin.
Yes. His call had to do with mixing different words to mean different things in the Bible. And what he said was, well, I'll just play.
The reason why I get to this is because the word Peter was not originally the disciple's name, but it was actually Simon. But when Simon approached Jesus, he was given the name Peter because the name Peter means a rock. I will build my church upon this rock.
Yeah, V just immediately knew where that was going. And we talked last week about how this seems like kind of a half-cocked form of hermeneutics. Reapplying things to try and get more out of it. And he referred back to a Robert C. Farrell video, a 4-hour-long video that kind of makes a lot of these claims. But it's not just about the claims outright in the Bible, because he had more to say. In fact, I've got this right here.
So you're saying that everything in the Bible is at once wholly metaphorical and also really happened?
Yes.
So,
right away in my head when you said yes, I'm like, the little mouse on the wheel that runs things up there stopped running and went, wait, what?
Yeah. So we're talking about prophecy now.
Yeah.
He's saying that using these words different ways, in creative ways, can get you to prophecy.
Okay.
V actually had a really, really good response. And it was an example that Sam Harris did, where he took a cookbook and he picked a recipe from the cookbook and made the recipe sound like it was some transcendent, extra meaning. Because you can read anything into almost anything.
Absolutely. Yep.
And that's kind of what he was doing. And so what do we determine prophecy to be? Right? That's kind of the question. Before I continue further, do you have any kind of experience with the concept of prophecy? Like what have you come up against? Like what was going on when you were processing and going through this call?
Well, obviously I'm not a believer in prophecy, even though they have recently made a meme of me as Neil Stradamus. But yeah, I'll show you later.
I did not know that.
Oh, it's hilarious.
That is amazing.
But I mean, and the weird thing is the first thing that started going through my head is my time as being into the paranormal stuff and being into people like Edgar Cayce, the Sleeping Prophet, or Nostradamus. And, I was eating it up in the day. But when you realize that, especially with the Bible, most of the prophecy was written about after the fact. Yeah. So how can something be prophetic if it's written about after the fact? I don't understand that.
Well,
and that's kind of what was going through my brain.
What actually has kind of changed my views on it. You know what? I'll put up another card. This time it's going to be up above Neil's head. And it's going, yes, right up there is a link to Holy Kool-Aid's video, one of his videos debunking psychics, because he talks a lot about prophecy.
Excellent.
And one of the things that did not come to mind before really watching that was that you have these people who make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of prophecies. They make hundreds and hundreds of claims, and then they wait. And if any of them came true, they'll say, hey, I prophesied this 3 years ago. Here's a video. What they don't show is the 5,000 misses for the one hit.
It's a misses fallacy.
Yeah. Texas sharpshooter fallacy.
That's it. Sharpshooter fallacy.
Yep. It's really easy to hit the middle of the bullseye if you shoot and then you paint the bullseye around the bullet hole.
Exactly.
That's kind of where you get that. Okay, so he's talking about prophecy, and one thing that actually tickled me was V was starting to quiz him on, okay, so everything's 100% literal. He goes, yeah. But also everything is metaphor. So, you have Paul, the rock, the church, you have, the waters that actually mean society. And you have all of these different that just it's crazy. And, you see where he got it. Actually, you know what? I'll play that piece from that guidebook. I'm probably going to get demonetized for it, but that's fine.
Moreover, this ability to bring the treasure out is predicated on one's being instructed unto the kingdom of heaven. In other words, there's a secret that one must know before one can decode it. Since one needs to have this instruction before one can understand, it is evident that the reader cannot simply deduce a conclusion merely from the facts given, but rather would have to bring this understanding to bear on the parable.
So you have to be taught how to look for secrets in the Bible to see the secrets in the Bible. And that's what
makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
You remember Monty Python with the monks walking around hitting themselves with a wooden?
Yep.
That's what I feel like when I hear that shit.
Well, and that's kind of where we left off last week, but we were just talking about the exegesis part. Now, when it comes to prophecy, he was saying it is 100% literal, it is 100% metaphorical, which is not how that works.
Oxymoron. Yeah,
and it's 100% prophecy. And if you don't understand it, you're just not looking hard enough. If you don't believe me, there's a 4-hour video that you can watch that can tell you all about it. But the thing is, if you don't know how to piece these things apart and look at things critically, it sounds incredibly profound, doesn't it? Everybody wants to be in on the secret. Everybody wants to have special knowledge, and being told, "Hey, you're special," it gets people to do weird things. I mean, did you watch the documentary on flat earthers?
You mean Beyond the Curve or Behind the Curve or whatever that was called? Yeah, and I have a very favorite part of that show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's towards the end with Jeranism when they do that light experiment through the holes in the cardboard, and of course it doesn't work. And then all you hear from Jeranism is, "Huh."
Well, but the thing is you're giving people a community. You're giving people a place to feel like they're special, and it's something that actually the atheist community has been accused of, and it's something that I highly recommend everybody watching. Make sure you believe what you believe for good reasons. We're not teaching you what to think. We're hoping to give you the tools to show you how to think critically. Thank you. Yes.
It's good to be skeptical. It's very good, but be pragmatic about it as well, right?
Yeah.
It's good to be open-minded, but not too open that your brain tumbles out.
I love that quote. Yes, absolutely. So he's going on about it being metaphorical and literal and prophecy, and V asked, "Well, what about the Old Testament?" And he says, "Well, the Old Testament, no, don't. Well, here.
The Old Testament itself should be just taken metaphorically because the author of the Old Testament was Muslim."
Whoa. Okay, I was raised Jewish. I grew up with the Old Testament. I was never told to take it metaphorically. I was told, even by my rabbis and stuff at the time, that it was the inerrant word of God.
You chimed in. I think V broke.
I think I broke poor V.
Well, I think saying, the whole Old Testament. Yeah, no, don't.
Well, as soon as he said that, I was like, "Well, you're walking into my territory now, pal."
Yeah. So
I even speak Hebrew, so let's get into this.
So is that something that people do in Jewish faith traditions? How is that parsed? Like, I know that I know that you have, pseudo spiritual kind of, splinters, but
Kabbalah and stuff like that. Sure. Jewish mysticism. Yeah.
But, wow, man. Yeah. You were getting thrown under the bus real quick. The fact that you chimed in made me laugh out loud. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so funny," because isn't it so easy to speak with authority on something you have no fucking clue about?
Right. I'm guilty. I've done it myself, but not so much these days. It's been a few years since I've done something like that.
Let's see. I feel like I need to have one of those whiteboards that they have out in front of construction sites. It's been 13 days since Eric said something stupid about the moon.
At least you weren't telling people that you were cutting it in half with a sword.
Yeah, and then putting it back together. Fair. That's fair.
Right.
But that said, I'm at least lucky that I'm in a community where people value standing up and saying, "Hey, I was wrong," because I have been wrong many, many times, and I'm sure I'll be wrong many, many more times. It's not. Yeah. And the thing is I think we need to embrace that just a little bit more. We need to go, "Hey, you know what? So. It's okay to say I was wrong." We somehow look down at it. I remember in church, in fact, one, shame and, being wrong was something that was a really big deal in my church. In fact, if you wanted to discredit someone, you would just show an example of them having been wrong in the past and been shamed for it.
Yeah, but that's dumb.
It is.
Because something I always say is the best part about being proven wrong, you are no longer wrong.
Yeah, you're given the opportunity to learn. And it does.
I like that.
So can I add one more piece onto that?
Absolutely.
That feeling in the pit of your stomach that you get when you learned you were wrong. That's what Eureka feels like.
Yeah. See, I don't really get that though. I mean, sure, I might for a couple seconds ago, what do you mean I'm wrong? And then they tell me why. I'm like, okay, I get it now. And then, yeah, you're right. It's like a little Eureka moment. Definitely. Oh, I carry little bulbs so I can put them on top of my head. Oh.
I'll take it, man. Yeah. So anyway, I absolutely loved that. There were a few other things that were referenced, and I can't go without sharing some of these because it's great. So I believe, let's see, was Paul the church or was Jesus the church? Let me see. Here.
Oh, wasn't he trying to say?
No, not that.
Knowing this, we can actually change whenever we see in the Bible the name Peter, we can replace with the church.
Okay, so Peter is the church.
Rock and church, yeah. Peter, that's what I was going to say. Yeah,
got it. But he also refers to Jesus as being representative of other things too. And when someone represents a concept and not a person, you get these really weird, situations where a concept would say, "Father, if you're willing, remove this cup from me. Take this cup from my hands." You have all these famous scenes from the Bible. You can't have a concept, kick the money changers out of the temple. That's just not how that works. The story of Jesus in the desert before the crucifixion, getting tempted by Satan. You can't tempt an abstract concept. And an abstract concept can't reply, man shall not live on bread alone. No. Jesus is the word. That's it. Jesus is the word. It wasn't in the clip. But that's what he compared it to. So the word said, "Man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." But he is the word, so the word is saying to look for the word.
It's confusing.
It is confusing. Yeah, exactly.
I'll take the bread, thanks.
Well, and also if
you can at least make grilled cheese.
Well, and also if Jesus is the word and it needs to be taken in every context. Here we go. "Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me." So you have the word speaking the word back to God. It doesn't make sense. And I know that often, it may seem on its face like, Eric, why are you picking these out? Mm-hmm. I'm picking them out because we look for falsifiability, right? When we're talking about tools, we look to go, how could I be wrong? And you test it because you don't want to believe something for bad reasons. And so these examples are a solid reason to not take what Kevin said the way he said it to be true.
That's right.
We just can't. So anyway, that wraps up prophecy. It's been 25 more minutes. Neil.
We tend to linger, don't we?
We do. But the thing is I get nostalgic when I talk to you. And
I got that effect. It must be the gray hair.
Well, I'm going to shout out Best Name Ever in the chat, who told me the other day, Eric, it's okay to enjoy your time too. And Neil, I enjoy my time with you. So thank you.
Feelings mutual, my friend.
How can people find you, man?
Well, if you want to stalk me on Twitter, you can find me at 604atheist. You can find me on Facebook. My actual name is Neil Bernstein, and I got you'll see a green background with a spinning Neil the 604 Atheist logo in it. And of course, my YouTube channel is Neil the 604 Atheist. I'm not plural, unlike God sometimes, but because they call him Elohim, and Elohim is a plural word in Hebrew, by the way.
It's the royal we.
Right. But actually, it refers to the original Israelites who actually had a pantheon of gods, but we won't get into that's another story. But anyways, you can find me there, Neil the 604 Atheist, and I do deconversion stories, and I have had this way. Yeah, this fella right here on my show. So
yeah,
it's an episode I recommend because I get a lot of people coming to me saying that was a good one.
Well, yeah, if you want to see me cry, that's where you're going to find it.
That's why I have this here now.
Fair enough. Brother, thank you so much. It's been awesome talking to you. Have a great rest of your day.
A lot of fun. You too, man. And you guys too. Be well, be safe, and above all, be kind to each other.
I love that line. That is such a damn good sign off. I need to I've just been saying bye. So here's the thing. I
stole it from Rock 101 radio station.
Lie to me, man. Anyway, okay, shush. I need to end this out. All right, everybody. So if you want to find Neil, I have links in the description to this video. He's absolutely worth checking out, and I sincerely appreciate him. So this has been a lot of fun. Click here to subscribe. I put out new content every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you can't wait until the next episode, you can go to patreon.com. That is one of the patron perks, is you can get early access to videos. If you want to see, my video with Thomas Westbrook from Holy Kool-Aid, go ahead and click here.